Sloan, Blake Sloan, top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome new show this week. All kind of great stuff we'll talk about. It's very, very interesting things happen in the real estate world. Interest rates back up again, getting to a high since all the way back to 2001. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's going on, how that's affecting the marketplace. We have seen a week over week slowdown in the past few weeks in terms of new properties going to contract. We'll dig into that. We'll look at the overall market numbers and look at what closed, how it's comparing to last year here at the local level. We just do the same thing we've done every week really for the last 14 plus years. Is we have one goal, is to keep you updated on everything real estate related here locally on a national level, just to help you make better decisions with your largest assets, which for most people is real estate. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about my investment fund. I mentioned that a little bit last week. We're looking to buy properties. We just put another property under contract. This week, a single family house. Basically, have a fund that will buy properties instantly, cash offer as is, a very, very fair price versus a lot of the investors out there that are just trying to pay pennies in the dollar. We're looking to buy single family condos, townhomes, commercial space, commercial buildings, land, also self-storage unit, things like that. So anything out there you're thinking about that you want an instant cash offer for convenience, anything that, maybe inherited, invested property, whatever it is, let us know. We have a great program for that. A lot of people are just taking that up for convenience and also being able to utilize a specific timeline to help them get the overall strategy they need to buy something else. We'll talk about that overall. Some interesting news. If we have time, I'll talk about Peter Schiff, right? Big Wall Street guy, is out here predicting 10+% interest rates that could be very problematic next year. We'll talk about that speculation. I'll read you what he's saying out there. Is very, very interesting. But he's been able to predict that using what's happened with the bond market, and he's forecasting basically what would happen with interest rates. We'll talk about that. Obviously, that would affect the value of your home. It would affect things maybe slowing down. We'll talk about that piece. But one thing we got that's pretty cool is the top 5 questions that home sellers have before they sell. And that's something I've been doing some research on, really digging in the 5 most important things that people ask the question and how to help kind of navigate those, and really how to make sure that you're able to get the most amount of money for your home. Always things like, what's my home worth? What type of upgrade should I do? Or what type of fixes should I do? I see a lot of mistakes made when people do like fixing it up to get ready for the market, because you don't always get dollar for dollar in a lot of those. So we'll talk about that. And as usual, some amazing success stories. Car teams and absolutely crushing it. Even though the market, we sold 17 properties, like another $1.6 million closed, very high in property, just all over the place. And so we'll talk about that and what's going on this week as well.
Systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system. Man, yes, exactly, Dave. And that's one thing that we just kind of just made a promise. I made a promise just years ago that I was going to talk about this at least for a second on every single show. So if it sounds repetitive, it is. That's because it's supposed to be, because people make the same mistake over and over and over and over and over. Doesn't matter how affluent they are, how much money they have, how many properties they sold. They make the same mistake over and over. It's not just here locally, it's on a national level. I talk about this with my friends in the industry all the time, that they make the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from true. They look at agents as a commodity, even though not, because the difference is it's actual people, right? So just like any doctor, any lawyer, just any person that serves you at a restaurant, right? Sometimes service is great, sometimes service is terrible. What's the difference? The person that serves you, right? And so if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing you want is some part-time attorney who's only tried a few cases, but they don't realize the average agent in our marketplace sells 4 homes per year. So with that, there's not a whole lot of experience to help navigate the nuances and the ins and out, right? If I want brain surgery, I want the absolute best brain surgeon on the planet, not the cheapest one, not the one my friend referred me to that just started practicing medicine, not too long ago.
I don't want to be the test person, right? But you gamble with your largest asset the same exact way, because most don't have a clear criteria in how they make a decision to pick a real estate agent, right? They want the friendliest or whoever somebody tells them to use, without understanding the nuances and the ins and outs of doing it. Just like any orthodontist, right? Someone works on my children's teeth, I want the absolute best. And so you should demand that same level of excellence when it comes to your real estate agent. And the fact is, agents are not created equal. Like I mentioned, the average agent sells 4 homes per year. That's 1 per quarter. There's not a whole lot of experience to understand what's going on in the marketplace, much less price your property right, much less make sure you handle negotiation. Because the fact is, if they're the average agent, we call them amateur agents in that scenario, they're selling 4 homes per year. They're just trying to get by and pay their rent. And so what's going to happen is they're going to throw you under the bus in 2 seconds just to get the deal done, because they're trying to survive. And it's not a place, right, where they're coming from a place of scarcity, which is the last thing you want when you're dealing with someone who's selling your largest asset. And so the fact is, the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing and one thing only. And that thing is the agent that you choose, period, right? Not the wall color, not the grass quality. It comes down to how does the agent you hire execute from A to Z. And it comes down to anything like price strategy. How aggressive do you price it? How do you price it? I see so many people underprice their property and sell it $40,000 less than they could have and think they had a great experience. Well, the reality is it was great and quick because you underpriced the property. And so on top of that, it comes down to the quality of the photos, the order of the photos. How likely is your agent to answer the phone? How fast they respond to web leads online? Do they respond around the clock? All these things happen that make or break the home sale. And so what it is, it's literally impossible for one single agent to efficiently and effectively manage all those 118 different variables. And so I noticed that a long time ago in the business, that look, there's got to be a better way. How do we understand what has to happen? I was always a big student of business, and I really studied what happened in other industries, how to do that. And so we looked at what people did outside of real estate, hired a bunch of coaches, consultants, and like that, and say, all right, let's figure this piece out. And what we did was reverse engineer what had to happen every single time, the same exact way to get to a successful closing and get the property sold for the most amount of money. That's how we know there's 118 different variables. And what we did was we mapped it out, what has to happen in the right order every single time. And so we stack them up like dominoes, and then we knock the dominoes over. And what it does, it creates a small gap at each point. So over the 118 different ones, we just manage that proactively and efficiently and effectively, and you stack those up over 118. What happens is it's a large gap on the back end that gives our client a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And the thing I designed, like Dave mentioned, is called the guaranteed sold system. It's the only proven system, so almost twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, guess what? It's very difficult for buyers right now. Very low inventory. And so what's happening, you want to make sure you have an expert who's very good at what they do, who has the right training, who really understand the ins and outs, who understand how to negotiate, get you access to the best deals, all those things. And we designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage home buying system to get you property access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the negotiation of the home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully. But like I mentioned, both those are designed to do one thing and give you competitive advantage. So I say this every week because it's so important. If you take anything from the show, is that the agent you choose matters. I'll see it every single day. I shared a horror story the other week where the agent they chose cost them $160,000. It's just in that one scenario. And so it happens over and over and over again. So if you want to know more how it works, if you listen for a while, you have a friend or relative, just be an advocate and say, look, you got to understand the agent you choose matters more than anything else. How they advise you, how they help guide you through that process, and how they handle the nuances, the ins and outs that you don't really know about is what makes or breaks it on the back end. And so if you want to know how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll take a quick break right back here in a second.
Market is constantly changing. Here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. I know certain programs make it a lot easier for the seller. Which ones do you offer? Hey, Sean. In addition to our traditional program that sells your home for the top dollar, we have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and a guaranteed offer program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy homes in the Grand Strand right now. And what kind of return can you expect from them? Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that nets sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods. All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options of themselves, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers that time crunch, you can agree to sell it on a certain date, take after it home, even ready.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our approved marketing plan and sell for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Market update, all kind of stuff happening right now. We'll talk about two types of numbers. Like I always mention, the front windshield numbers. That's what's happening real time right now. What's going under contract every single day, and that helps us keep a pulse. Because you watch the last really, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. Actually, 6 weeks in a row. It's gone down, and that's obviously as rates have gone up, not drastically. Things like this week. There was 511 properties went under contract in the last 7 days here in the Grand Strand in our MLS for 194,141,000. So if you think about that, like I always mention, anything close to 200 million means the market's rock and roll. We're slowing down a little bit. So 511 properties. Last week was 527. Week before that, 537. Week before that, 556. Week before that, 561 overall. And the week before that was 590. And that was 220 million. And right now we've gone down, right, the last 6 weeks to 511 for 194. And what's happened is rates have gone up. And so as rates go up, it becomes a little bit less affordable. Some buyers can't buy. Some buyers pump the brakes. Some buyers get to the sidelines. And so it's important to watch that because it just helps us understand the data real time to help our sellers or our buyers make better decisions in what they do. And so that's something to kind of look at what's going on. It's down slightly. We'll talk about the rates going up. They hit a new high since 2001 here recently this week. And so the good news is there was 20 properties for $1 million. You're still seeing a lot of big money. Like I mentioned, we put over 3 properties over 1.6 million that's closed with us in the last month, which has been awesome, right? And so we're seeing that a lot. We have a lot of around $1 million, 1.2, 1.3 as well. But looking at this, 20 properties are over $1 million, one of which not ours, but it's on the MLS, 4.5 million went under contract in 1 day here, right in Myrtle Beach on the ocean, which is awesome news there with a lot of high-end buyers coming in buying stuff. 90 properties over 500,000 went under contract, and so that's really good. If you look at last week's show, for example, there's only 14 over 1 million versus 20 now, and there's only 79 over 500,000, but there's 90 this week. And like I mentioned, you're just seeing that demographic, and this happens every fall. A lot different type of buyer. It's typically a little bit more higher end buyer because they avoid the crowds, right? A little bit different demographic. And you're just seeing that happen statistically, and it's just something to watch about. If you're thinking about selling, you always want to tee it up at the right time of the year, especially in that fall market when a lot of people come. They've had the itch all year, looking to make a move, looking to buy something for the end of the year. And that's something that's super powerful to look at. So if you're thinking about selling, look at that data and take into account. Also, you don't want to wait too late until those numbers go down too much where it does affect price and price does decline. The good news is inventory is staying pretty tight. So right now, 873 properties are active for single family resale homes. That's what we use as the gauge. And that's kind of the best data we can get versus last week, 874. Which is good. So we're pretty much right in line with where it has been, which is what's protecting price overall. And so that's good news out there for home sellers still. But if you're thinking about selling this year, I would definitely take some action sooner rather than later. Overall, for sure. Looking at anybody that missed last week's macro market numbers, the entire marketplace, look at overall closed sales for resale homes versus last year. It's down 18.6%. So 482 properties closed this year in August versus last year's 592. Sales price, median price is still up 5.7% at 370,000, which is awesome. Average sale price up 12.9% at 489,189, which is awesome news. It jumped up big time from the previous month. If you go back to July, it was 488, and all the way in August went 448, and in August went up to 489. So $40,000 jump there in 1 month, which is awesome. Here's the deal. Inventory is still very low. It's at 3.1 months of inventory. Anything below 6 months of inventory is a seller's market. Again, it's just what they use, and it's kind of I guess, question or math problem, so to speak. If there wasn't one new listing on the market, how long would it take at the current run rate to sell through all those properties? And just something they use in the industry, it would take 3.1 months. If you go back to the last time we were really in that range, was all the way back in 2020, in August of 2020. So that just kind of shows you where that was. It went all the way down to really 0.9 months in early 2022. And that's just kind of where it's come back up as things have slowed down and interest rates have gone up overall. If you look into condos, condo sales, they were down 11.9% last month with 495 properties closed versus 562 last year in 2022. Look at median price up significantly, 11.9% at 254,000 even. Average sale price up 10%. 287,000, which is awesome. We're just seeing lots of price increases. What's crazy to see significant decline there, a double-digit decline and a double-digit increase in price, and it just goes to there's just that much demand still coming through in that scenario. Inventory is still low at 3.6 months of inventory, and so that's just something to kind of look at and see overall with that for them. So days on markets, we don't really talk about too much right now for condos. Days on market is 62 days before it goes under contract, a 12.7% increase. If you look at homes, it's 73 days on market before it goes under contract on average. And so thankfully, our team is a little bit less than that for most of ours. And so that's just one of the things that you want to kind of take in mind. What's happening, though, is we're seeing rates new high. Since 2001, we hit this past week. Right now, 7.50%. It hit high as 7.51%. Earlier this week. And so that's a 30-year fixed rate. Look at a 15 fix, it's 6.81, a 30-year jumbo, 7.51, a 5-year adjustment rate mortgage right now, 7.12%, a 30-year FHA, 6.95%, and a 30-year VA is 6.96%. Just something we're seeing kind of across the board as rates go up. It's interesting, right? A lot of people are talking about different things. We're seeing some doom and gloom on one side. We're seeing some positivity, things on the other side. But interesting article from Peter Schiff. A lot of you guys probably know Peter Schiff is big time guy on CNBC, Fox News, and he's just a big Wall Street guy. I think he's worth 100 million plus. But he talks about bonds are getting killed and the bloodbath is just getting started. The 10-year Treasury yield is 4.48%, the highest since October 2007. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate should hit 8% by next week. The next year's 10-year Treasury should yield over 6% with mortgage rates near 10% talking next year, which is crazy. It's interesting, right? It's hard to wrap my mind on that. I personally don't think and hope it doesn't get to that point. But if I'm thinking about selling, right, I may want to sell earlier rather than later. If I have investment property I've been sitting on, rental property I've been sitting on, something I'm kind of tired of dealing with and thinking about getting that moved, you want to do it while it's more affordable for more buyers because as that happens and less buyers are able to buy, you're going to see inventory go up, prices will soften because we always know it's supply and demand driven. And so if you want to know more how that works, if you're thinking about potentially selling, we have a great tool on my website. We spend thousands of dollars a month, over $2,000 a month just for this tool. Get you instant cash offer. It pulls data from a bunch of different data sources. So there's all these major companies out there that aggregate data. That one's called CoreLogic, one's called Atom. We have Zillow, and then pull from a bunch of different data sources as well. And so what happens is you get an instant home evaluation, a couple of clicks. It's free. It's non-invasive. It's very, very hassle-free. Takes 2 clicks. Go to blakesloan.com. You type in your address right there. It'll give you a home evaluation. It'll give you a dashboard. You can come back and look and watch what's going on in real time with your home equity based on your loan amount. A lot of times it does know the loan amount based on the county data recorded. And also you can get an instant cash offer there for you. It's just a cool tool. It's super simple, very mobile friendly. You just type in your address, type a couple buttons, and you can answer a couple of questions like, do you have any upgrades? I will say it's important a lot of times because the county data doesn't always match up the actual data. If you added a bedroom or added a bathroom, whatever it is, we have an amazing tool that allows you to get real-time, instant, hassle-free information. Just go to blakesloan.com anytime. There's an address bar up top. You can type it in, and it's super, super simple. So take a quick break. Right back in a second with some awesome success stories, hot buyer alert, and the top 5 questions that sellers ask.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home. Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee. Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home.
Are we looking on time, Dave?
You agree to or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about days. There's simply no other.
Come out 8 minutes-ish.
Okay.
Do you want to skip Gary Lavox at the end again?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Read Gary's 750 5-star reviews by people at Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group. And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyer alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking to buy properties here in the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area from $250,000 to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Tons of great large amounts of buyers right now looking, like I mentioned, there's a lot of high-end buyers coming in. And I get this question all the time, like, how do you have this amount of buyers? And what makes you different than everyone else? And the thing I've talked about in the past in the show is that the reality is we have a unique business model. That's what got us in Forbes and Wall Street Journal, all these things that gives me a competitive advantage. And that competitive advantage is I can outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, because we have a team of buyer specialists all day long, every day. All they do is they make phone calls to buyers and sell buyers properties. We have listing specialists. We have inside sales, outside sales, VIP concierge. We have listing coordinators, closing coordinators, all these things. So we have a team of specialists. So we're much more efficient in terms of our conversion, which allows me to spend more money to acquire a lead to allow us to be able to generate more buyers for your property. And so what makes us different is we're not the average agent who doesn't start the work until they get the listing, right? They get the listing, they come in, put a sign in the yard, this when they start working. For me, we've already been hustling every single week for years and years and years, spending tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars every week, driving traffic online and getting buyers from all across the globe. And so right now, current active home buyers on our website with a username, password, account, 73,743 active home buyers. Again, 73,743 active home buyers. And it tracks their IP address on a lot of them, aka where their location is. Right now, I got Barbara Kleckner from Lansdale, PA. I got Cameron Pelletier from Planstow, New Hampshire. I got Bob from Chicago, Illinois. Becky from Manning, South Carolina. I got Wendy from Cambridge, Mass. I got Jamie from Brooklyn, New York. I got Luann Clark from Highbridge, New Jersey, Toronto, Canada, Pittsburgh, PA, Myrtle's Inlet, South Carolina, Titusville, Florida, another Kingston, Ontario, Pine Bush, New York, Tuckahannock, I can't even say it, Tuckahannock something, PA, all over the place, right? And so you notice we have a lot from the Northeast because that's on purpose. We notice that a lot of people that move here that see value in what we have, we've geo-targeted them based on the location and based they're searching from on their phone, which allows us to find a lot of these buyers and high-end buyers. And here's the cool part. We have a whole sales team of 25 plus buyers agents who are on the phones all day, every day, making phone calls, looking to work with them and help them find a home. The coolest part is when we get your listing, guess the first thing we do? We match it to one of the buyers. We have the 73,743 of them. We reverse engineer who the most likely buyer for your property is based on their previous search patterns. And so while most agents are out there trying to figure out Microsoft Outlook and use their cell phone email, we're using high-level technology to help really segregate, basically break down different buyers based on what type of property they're looking for, and we can score them on a scale of 0 to 100 to find the most likely buyer for your property based on their previous search patterns. And so what's the cool part is we call them and say, hey, Vanessa, right here, we have a brand new property that it matches exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to take a look at it? One, she knows who we are. She's been on our site. Like Vanessa's been on our site 7 times already, which is cool. Fairly new lead here. And the reality is she's going to know who we are. She wants a property like that because it's based on what she's already been looking for. And it's super, super easy. Not only are we aggressive in our follow-up, we have technology that matches buyers and sellers up. We have a sales team that backs that up. And so you can see how we push the needle there, and it helps sell properties faster and for more money than the one single agent who's juggling all the balls by themselves, who's playing golf 3 days a week and is not actually pushing your home like you want them to. And that's why it hasn't been selling in most cases. And so if you're thinking about selling, we can mention inventory is still very, very low. It's in the super sellers market. We're able to match up these buyers and sellers. But the problem is we have more buyers than our listings out there. And so if you're thinking about selling, if you come across anybody, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, whoever it is, if you like them, you don't like them, say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. He's the absolute best. He sold more listings here in Myrtle Beach than anyone else the last 12 months and in 2022. And we sell them faster for more money than the average agent because of this system that we have here. And so if you know anybody thinking about selling, have them reach out to us. A couple quick success stories. Always like to share those because our team works so hard. Angela, she owned a rental property in Georgetown, decided now's the time to sell because she didn't want to be a landlord from out of state, and she wanted to cash out on top of the market. Angela spoke with some investors who were willing to pay cash for her home, but the offers are literally pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, Angela started looking for other options to get her the most money. She came across Sloan Realty Group because she heard about their guaranteed sold program, what guarantee they buy it, which appealed to her because it made sure the home sold no matter what. So we met with Angela, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, a virtuality walkthrough, drove massive traffic to a rental property. Within a couple of days, had an as is, which means no repairs or anything, full price, all cash offer on her property. Now she doesn't worry about being a landlord out of state and put maximum equity in her pocket. Also, Mark and Julia, they decided it's time to move back to Nebraska to be close to their daughter and her family since they had a brand new granddaughter, which is awesome. Congrats to that. Mark and Julia wanted to make sure the process was smooth as possible since they'll be moving a very long distance and also buying a home in Nebraska at the same exact time. Thankfully, they reached out to investors first for a possible cash offer. They found that they were getting pennies on the dollar as well. But thankfully, they went online, saw Sloan Realty Group, our 800 plus 5-star reviews on Google, decided to give them a call. We met Mark and Julia, designed a custom plan, launched a gold marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic within just 1 week. Mark and Julia received a fantastic offer on their home, right almost at full price. We were able to negotiate the perfect closing date that coordinated perfectly with the purchase of their new home in Nebraska. Now Mark and Julia can be close to their family, watch their granddaughter grow up, put maximum equity in their pocket, all because they made the right decision to call us and put actual maximum money in their pocket, which is super important. So that's important to kind of look at. Couple minutes here left. I want to talk about one thing that we get this questions a lot, like, hey, look, what are the top 5 questions that homeowners have when they're thinking about selling, kind of what's going on? One of the things that we get the most, the number one, is what's my home worth, right? And here's important. Like, homeowners want to know current market value of their home. They may see professional appraisal. Everybody goes online. What you notice, and I've been testing this a lot lately with that new tool we have, which I spend, like I mentioned, a few $1,000s. It pulls from multiple data sources. So you're able to get, there's these multiple lines it shows you, and it shows you what the multiple data sources has. So if you go like a Zillow or Realtor.com, whatever, you'll notice they're always different. We saw one just today that was $200,000 difference. And so there's one person went online, searched for a specific website, and she paid $450 for it, and it showed it was worth $249. And then we went to a different website. We were kind of showing her the example, a different website, and it shows worth $650,000. So there's all these models are never really fully accurate. And so you want to make sure you understand who's the most accurate one and how do I make sure you dial that in. So you always want to get some human element, somebody who understands it, because like I mentioned, we track real-time property information, like how many selling each 7 days. So I know if it's hot the last 7 days, I can push the price a little bit higher and probably get an offer on it. And so you want to make sure you understand that. If you want to use my free tool, it's super easy. It's non-threatening, but it gives you a dashboard. You can go check it anytime you want to and see your equity, all that stuff, and it'll update you as much as you want to. Here's another one: should I repair or renovate before selling, right? That's one of the biggest questions we get. I say you ask a professional in that scenario, because here's the deal. A lot of people don't realize that you're not going to get dollar for dollar for almost anything. I mean, very, 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 very little. If you look at the mathematics, it's very, very surprising how little those things actually get you dollar for dollar. So we have kind of a checklist. We like to call it gingerbreading. Certain things like to do, pressure wash, right? Deep clean, declutter, in some cases, paint certain things. We always walk you through so you know what to do, what not to do to get the most amount of money for your home. You're not just throwing cash out there, wasting it. So don't worry about being judged. Ask professionals so you save more money. What are the costs of selling a home? That's what we'll break down to you. Basic commission. You have deed stamps to go to Horry County, attorney's fees, not that much on the seller side. And how can I maximize my sale price? We'll spend more time on this next week, but here's the deal. You want to get an agent who gets you the right exposure, just like an auction. You can sell a Corvette in the Walmart parking lot, but you can sell it for a lot more if you get it national exposure on every Corvette enthusiast website. So if you want to be like that, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLDER, BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here next week at the same time.